Okay, between the middle of 2009, when the economy came out of a recession, supposedly, I don't even think it ever came out because they keep massaging the numbers, but supposedly we came out of recession and the economy's grown like 6.2% since mid-09 till now. Well, the national debt's grown 40%. So you don't have an economy growing at 6%, and the debt of that nation growing at 40%, and just continue on that way. It's gonna all come down at some point. But things like that, most people have no idea about those numbers. They don't look at that stuff. Most of the people that argue with me are people who don't understand. People who argue with me about silver and gold. They don't understand what real money is. They don't understand that silver and gold aren't rising. It's the dollar that's falling. The dollar is understanding what's happening with the US dollar is the most important thing in this whole understanding of what's going on with the economy. The dollar is being sacrificed. And people just don't know that. I mean, they know that dollar doesn't go as far as it used to go. I mean, they understand that. But, I get a raise at work, so I'm being compensated. No, you're not. You're not being compensated. Thank you for joining me on the Moneybag 73 channel today. I want to direct you all to a video that I watched on Google about the crash, the economic collapse coming to America. The movie was made in the early 90s. And, knowing what I know now and what we've all experienced, especially like during the 2008 credit crisis, and just the way that things are with the national debt and the loss in purchasing power of the US dollar, these people in the video were frightened of what was coming 20 years ago with the $4 trillion national debt and $53 trillion of unfunded liabilities, future obligation. Our future obligation now is way beyond 100 trillion. But they were at 53 trillion and they were tripping out. And with their $4 trillion national debt, they were just saying how they couldn't even pay the interest and they're, got to quit living beyond our means. Actually, I think if something was actually done then, and they would have listened to the group that was put together, funded by private business owners, it actually could have turned this ship around. But now we're in a do or don't situation. Whether we do what should be done or we don't, it doesn't matter. At this point, it just doesn't matter anymore. I mean, the training wheels have been taken off, and the young country is going to crash on the little bike. I mean, there's no way around it. It's so bad, and I feel sorry for people. I would like to attach this video to some other videos, hoping someone would catch on to it who doesn't know what's going on, because I know there's a lot of those people, and it's not necessarily their fault. If they turn on the news and try and learn something, well, you can't learn much there. I mean, you have cheerleaders for the stock market and the US dollar. I mean, I did a video on a guy who was on there. I think he was educated at one of the top universities. That doesn't mean anything. I mean, I'm just saying. He's on there saying this dollar's stronger than ever. Gold's in a bubble. He has no idea what's going on. The dollar was back above 140 on the US index 25 years ago. And 10 years ago, it was up above 110. I mean, we're 78.5 on the US dollar index. How is it stronger than ever? Oh, sorry. Let me correct myself. I think we were at 81 or 82. We were having a little blip upwards because of the whole mess in Europe, with people getting out of the euro back into the dollar. Yeah, sure, we're gonna have these little tiny blips, but every time we get a little blip, they're like, "That dollar's so strong." for a month or two. But if you look at the long-term trend, it's down. It's been down for a long time. I don't know. You can't trust the financial news. Those people, they don't know what they're talking about. I saw another guy arguing with Peter Schiff saying, Peter was saying, well, the interest rates are going to have to rise. And then what? Paying all the debt, all the interest on the national debt with higher interest rates, it'll implode the economy. This economy can't survive, obviously. That's why they're holding interest rates near zero for 3 years. They're acknowledging the fact that things are so effed up. So interest rates are going to rise at some point. They'll be forced to raise them. And the guy who does the financial show is saying, yeah, but the Fed controls the rates. They can keep them low indefinitely for as long as they want. Peter Schiff said, no, they can't. They'll have to raise them when the dollar starts to fall. When it drops below the floor, which is 70, some point beyond the floor, they're going to have to raise interest rates to support the dollar. As long as I've been involved in studying this type of information, I've noticed that people are waking up. Like I woke up. No, I didn't always know. I mean, parts of what I talk about and learn about have interested me for 15, 20 years. But I never really understood it. I feel like I understand what's going on now. I understand that the main problem is the Federal Reserve and the debt-based monetary system. It's designed to fail. We're at the point now where you have to continuously just take on more debt so it doesn't collapse. That's what happened, in 2008, everything almost collapsed. Well, other than taking on so much more debt, we have the reserve currency of the world here in the United States, so we can just inflate the US dollar. We can export our inflation around the world. So, you take on more debt or you devalue your currency. The main problem is the debt-based Federal Reserve system, the cartel of Federal Reserve banks with of the central banks with the Federal Reserve as the kingpin. That's the main problem. The Fed's got to go. For 150 years before the Fed, there was really no inflation. There's no need for it. You should have falling prices in a productive economy. You take your savings and then you produce stuff, and prices should actually stay stable or fall. It should increase. Now, we're being told that the Fed has a 2% target for inflation. So that's just the same as them saying, well, our target is to drill a hole in your safety deposit box and to help ourselves to 2% every year. That's our target, is to steal from you. Inflation is a hidden tax. It's theft by the government. That's all it is. By any other word, it's just theft. So, who knows where we're headed for sure? How long it's going to take? People are asking me, well, when's the dollar going to collapse? You've been saying this for 3 years now. It ain't collapsed yet. I don't know when it's going to collapse. I'm not looking forward to that day. It's not going to be a happy day. But we're damned if we do, we're damned if we don't at this point, and I hope that you're preparing in some way. I mean, people look at silver and gold and they say, oh, wow, man. I was talking to one person who said gold just seems way too expensive. Especially, he thought it was expensive like around 800. Well, 17 and change, 1730 now, 1740. Must look super expensive now. Well, wait till it gets to 2,000, 3,000, 4,000. He's not even going to think of it as an option, real money. He's just going to stay with the dollar. Because that's, I don't know where you could turn on mainstream media and be told about, well, there are certain guests, but the main push behind the dollar and silver and gold is that the dollar's strong. Strong dollar policy, like Geithner always reminds us of. We have a policy in this country of a strong dollar. But what I have to say to that is, one of my favorite lines from Peter Schiff that he says in regards to that is, you could have a straight A policy when you're in high school, and you could be getting all F's and D's, and drinking on the weekends and smoking pot and just partying it up, and just people question you, what are you doing, man? Well, I got a straight A policy. I mean, that's pretty much our strong dollar policy. So I guess I ranted for long enough.